Start.
Students, the next one in this chapter, writing chemical formulae. How you are going to write a chemical formula? For example, we know that so many elements, so many compounds. For example, I am going to write here NaCl. I am going to write H2O, right? I am going to write magnesium chloride. I am going to write sodium carbonate. Like that, we know that there is so many compounds. We know that so many elements. How we are going to write? How they derive? It is very difficult to simply write all these things. There should be some criteria, there should be some rules to write the chemical formulae. Right. Then, how you are going to write this chemical formula? Before going to this one, we have to understand this one. The second one is valency. After the completion of this valency, you come to know about how you are going to write the chemical formulae. Now, look at here. I am going to explain the valency. What is that valency? Valency in this chapter, the combining capacity of atoms of an element is called valency. Nothing but the combining of two or more different elements of atoms results a new compound. How many atoms? In other words, the combining capacity of atoms of an element, we call it as valency. In other words, the outermost orbital electrons, okay, or the free electrons that are present in an outermost orbit of an element or of an atom, we call it as valency. But here we are discussing with the chemical combinations or the chemical products. For that reason, what we are going to take for this valency, the combining capacity of atoms of an element is called valency. Right? By knowing the valency, it is very easy to write the chemical formulas or the chemical combinations. Then after this valency, some rules we have to follow, some guidelines we have to follow. Okay, then only we are going to start, then only we are going to write the chemical formulas. Then I have written some three important basic rules or basic guidelines we are going to follow how to write the chemical formula. Then the very first one, look at here, the first guideline or first rule, valencies or charges on the ion must balance. What is that? For example, I am going to write this one, NaCl. In your table, they have given Na is a positively charged ion and this chlorine is a negatively charged ion. Now look at here, this positively charged and negatively charged should be present in this compound, then only this is a stable one. Both presence of the cation and the anion, this become neutral one. The compound become a neutral one, the compound become a steady one, the compound become a stable one. Okay, I think you are getting now. The presence of the positive ion, the presence of the negative ion results in a neutral compound or a stable compound or a steady compound. That is this first point. Okay, valencies or charges on the ion must balance. If here the plus is there, then here there should be a presence of the minus. If it is minus, then it is here plus. Like that we have to balance. Right? That is the first guideline or first rule. The second one, when compound contains metals and non-metals both. Okay, for example, any compound is there, it contains both metals and non-metals. At that time, what we are going to follow? What type of rule they have given? Again, you take this one, sodium chloride. Here, the sodium is a metal one and here chlorine is a non-metal one. Okay. And you take so many examples. I am going to write here, look at here, magnesium chloride, right? Here the magnesium is a positively charged one and the chlorine is a negatively charged one, and here magnesium is a metal and the chlorine is a non-metal, right? In this case, the presence of the both metal and the non-metal, first we have to write the metals, then followed by the non-metals. Okay, at any cost, first we have to give priority for the metals and the next one is the non-metals. That is your second point. Nothing but for a given compound, the presence of both metals and non-metals, at that condition we have to write the first one is a metal and the next one is a non-metal. That is the second condition. The third one, what is the third one? In compounds formed with polyatomic ions. If a compound contains polyatomic ions, at that time how we are going to write that one? Now I am going to write an example for the third rule. Now look at here. What is this? Magnesium hydroxide or calcium hydroxide. Here the magnesium hydroxide, you take this example, I have written a bracket for this one and the number 2 I have written outside of this bracket. Why I have written this one? This OH contains polyatomic ions. Polyatomic ions. At that conditions we have to follow this rule. We have to write the bracket for that particular compound. Right? Nothing but for a polyatomic ions are present in any compound, we have to write the bracket. We have to use the bracket. That is the third rule. By following all these three rules, now we are going to start the writing of the chemicals or the formulas. Now I have simply written already the example. Look at here, what is this? Hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride. Now look at here. What is the symbol of this hydrogen and chloride? We know that the symbol of hydrogen is H and the chloride is nothing but Cl. Okay, and by looking at the table, they have given what is the valency or what is the charges or what is the ions, what type of ions are there, right? The valency of the hydrogen is 1 and the valency of the chlorine is also 1. By cross multiplication we will get what? H into 1 H, Cl into 1 Cl. The resulting compound is hydrogen chloride. Like that we are going to write the chemical formula. In other words, we are going to call this by crisscross method or a cross method. Simply you are going to cross multiply and you will get a product. Like that we are going to take some other examples. I am going to write here, okay, calcium oxide, okay, calcium oxide. And how we are going to write this one? We know that the symbol of calcium is Ca and oxygen is O, and valency is +2 and the valency of this one oxygen is -2. By cross multiplying, what we will get? Ca2 and O2. But I have simply written CaO. Both are correct. Calcium oxide, right? By cross multiplication, what we will get? Ca2 and O2. Instead of writing simply in the simplest form, simply I have written CaO. Like that, we can take so many examples for writing the chemical formulas. And in textbook, they have given some other examples. You can go through the textbook, you will get the answer for those things. Right? This is about how we are going to write the chemical formulas. Thank you.